Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 biggest mistakes I've made in my journey as an entrepreneur over the past 4.5 years, coming up to 5 years now, of running my social media marketing agency. So if you're new to the channel, my name's Harry Kirk. This channel is run alongside the co-founder of my social media marketing agency, Tom Ford. We joined our agencies together 2.5 years ago, but we started our social media marketing agency, our separate ones that we merged together 4.5 years ago. So we've been in the agency space a very long time. And yeah, so if you're new to the channel, we're posting every single day. We've just upped the quality of our videos a week ago. So would massively appreciate it if you can subscribe if you want daily SMMA content from people that are actually running a social media marketing agency in 2023 moving into 2024. So in this video, guys, I want to talk through kind of the 5 biggest mistakes I've made over the past 4.5 years of running a social media marketing agency, because I always feel like you can always learn the most from other people's mistakes rather than their successes. And I hand on heart believe that. So my mistakes, the first mistake I make, and a lot of these mistakes, guys, the mistakes I made way back when I started my agency is just me in my bedroom trying to make some money online. And the very first mistake I made was not cold calling from day one. And looking back on it now, that was a drastic mistake that I made, because as soon as I did start calling, that's where I got all my success from. And the reason for that is, now looking back at it, obviously hindsight's 2020, but looking back on it now, the results I would have got if I just picked up the phone from day one and started calling 4.5 years ago, when like it was so easy to book meetings through any method, let alone cold calling. But I just didn't have the resources. I didn't have the know-how how to do it, and I was frankly too scared to pick up the phone. And you know, even when you pick up the phone now, you get amazing results with cold calling, providing you know what to say. Imagine what it would have been back 4.5 years ago. And granted, 6 months into my journey, I did build up the courage to start cold calling. I wasn't as consistent as I needed to be, but that's how I signed my first client. And I wish, looking back on it now, I just picked up the phone and started calling. Just put all of those worries aside about being scared to fuck off, scared to put myself out there, and just picked up the phone and started connecting with business owners, because that's by far the quickest, fastest and most effective way to get your agency off the ground. But most people aren't willing to do it, and most people, after watching this video, still won't want to do it. Number 2 of my biggest mistakes was copy and pasting messages. So this is kind of what I was doing instead of what I should have been doing, which was cold calling, was copy and pasting a paragraphed message to every single business owner. When I first started out, I did what everyone does and just blast out emails to everyone. So I was literally wrote a very simple outreach message that said, "Hi, you're leaving a massive opportunity on the table. I run Facebook ads, Google ads. Do you want a meeting for me to pitch my service to you?" basically. And I'd copy and paste that to every single info at or support at or inquiries at email address that I found on loads of different websites. And obviously I got nothing back, and people are still doing that to this day and getting shit results. So I was copy and pasting messages, and even it didn't stop at emails. Once I realized, I quickly learned that emails wasn't the way to go. I then switched to messaging people on Instagram. I switched to messaging people on LinkedIn, which is where I got a lot of my early success, especially with booking meetings. And I have a LinkedIn cold calling strategy that we explain in the academy, where you use LinkedIn to build those relationships, a touch point and a level of familiarity with a person before you call them, and that's also how you get their information. But even then, when I first started, I was copy and pasting the same paragraphed message, and I was just getting nowhere. So it was a massive mistake, and I had to just put myself in the business owner's shoes eventually and think, and the answer's no. And that's where a lot of people go wrong with their outreach, is they forget to imagine all of the other messages and conversations that those very same business owners are having with other social media marketing agencies. And if you're doing the same thing everyone else is doing, then they're not going to say yes to a meeting with you. They're only going to say yes to someone who makes them stand out and seems different and actually has the best interest of them at heart, which is and doesn't come across as an immediate transaction. When I get loads of sales messages on my Instagram and emails all the time, and 99.9% of them, I can immediately tell all they care about is money. And obviously that's all anyone cares about is money, otherwise they wouldn't be in a sales position. However, when you come across as so transactional and so like money orientated and not leading with value, it becomes a massive problem and you're not going to get any responses. For example, someone messaged me today saying, Harry, I do this and this at a really affordable price. you shouldn't even be talking about price yet, because you don't have any idea what I need and to what level I need it. You need to be building relationships and leading with value. That's the only way you're going to get connections. It's the only way you're going to get responses, and it's the only way you're going to get meetings. And that was a massive mistake I was making early on. I wasn't cold calling to build genuine relationships, and I was just copy and pasting as many of these paragraphs and just changing the name to loads of business owners via email, DMs, and LinkedIn. And that's hence why I wasn't getting anywhere. And I'm sure that's going to resonate with a lot of you watching. You're probably thinking, well, that's exactly what I'm doing. Hence why you're not getting any results. Number 3 is a big mistake I made up until about a year into running my agency, and was not growing a personal brand. Now, this is huge for so many different pockets of SMMA, especially if you're doing social media management. If you're doing social media management and you're reaching out to people on Instagram to grow their social media pages, and you have 14 followers or 400 followers or 300 followers with 16, 32, 92 likes on a post, then to them, you're not practicing what you preach. Like when I get offered that, when someone asks, Harry, I can grow your personal brand, and their personal brand has 300 followers, they're not qualified to grow my personal brand because they haven't grown their own personal brand yet. I understand that, you might have the expertise of how to do it, but until you've done it, why would I trust you when there's 50 other people that have already done it and are offering the same thing? And that's kind of this, and that's where having a personal brand does put you in a lot of authority, because although you might not be offering social media management, Instagram growth, or personal branding, or whatever it is, and you're offering paid ads, sales funnel creation, email marketing, like Tom and I on the Academy members offer as an overall package, you can leverage your social proof on your personal brand to indicate you're an expert in social media, if that makes sense. Like the amount of times in a meeting, we include the screenshots of our Instagram pages in our presentation. The amount of times clients see that and they go, oh shit, like they see it and they're like, now, he is a veteran in the game. And I'm not saying like buy followers, but you need to be growing your personal brand and supplying value. And documenting your journey more than anything. Like people always message me, Harry, I want to start a personal brand. What do I post? Well, just post your day-to-day stuff. That's what I did. You can literally scroll back to the beginning of my Instagram, like in 2021, where I first started my personal brand. Actually, I've deleted a few of the initial ones, but you can see my early posts where I'm literally posting saying, I did 100 messages today. I did 50 DMs today, 20 cold calls, and booked 2 meetings. Then the next day you'll say, right, prepping my meeting I booked on LinkedIn yesterday. Then a week goes down the line, I'm on this meeting. A week goes down the line, I closed this client for this amount. Here's a picture of the invoice going off. Here's a picture of the paid thing. I was just documenting everything that was happening. Hence why my page grew so much, and so why so many people follow me now on Instagram, is because people just wanted to see the journey. They wanted to see what I was doing. And then like it kind of became a thing where, I was networking with loads of different SMMAs, feeding off each other's ideas. I was helping them out. They were kind of telling me what worked for me. And I built this nice community. And then fast forward, to today with the massive agency, we're coming up to 10 employees now. That brand holds a lot of weight on meetings. Because although my personal brand's not necessarily for the agency side of things, it's more for the educational company and networking with other SMMAs and helping you guys out. Lots of brands see 17,000 followers and 5,000 followers for Tom's with loads of engagement and a not really, really strong community. And they want to replicate that for their brand because it can be transferable into different industries. So it holds a lot of weight and it's so easy to do. And the amount of opportunities that have come up from my personal brand, speaking events, the educational company relies massively on it, signed multiple high ticket clients through my Instagram, along with the social proof it gives me. It's just a nice foundation that you can have alongside your SMA to give yourself some credibility and to network with some amazing people. And also to support your outreach. Like, although we don't do much Instagram outreach as the primary outreach message, we often use Instagram as a nice way to nurture leads that we might have. So we might have a meeting with someone, it doesn't come off, we follow them on Instagram, and then over the next coming months, we reply to a few stories, we message them to see how they're getting on. And then that sparks conversation and it might get them on another meeting and we might sign them again, as well as some, lots of inbound inquiries to the Instagram. So there's lots of different verticals having a personal brand helps with, and it's free to get up and running, and it can only help you. So yeah, that's number 3, not growing a personal brand. Number 4 is overpricing a few clients very early on in my agency. So at this point, I had around 2 or 3 clients, and I had a meeting with a really high profile dentist in London. He had 7 or 8 practices, all across London, and I was kind of getting a bit too big for my boots when I had that meeting, and I overpriced it massively. Like, I was charging, at the time I was charging £1,500 per dental practice, and because he had 8, I priced it what I would price individually for all of them, obviously with a massive discount, but it was way overpriced, and I just got the strategy completely wrong. When you have multiple practices in the same location or across the nation, it doesn't need 8 times the standard fee you would charge, because it's just one sales funnel if it's for the same service, etc. So that's probably a conversation for another video, but I massively overpriced this client, and if I just priced it a bit better, I think I would have signed him at £3,000 a month, probably what I should have gone in for, and I probably could have signed him for, but I was just getting too big for my boots. And if I did sign that, he would have referred me to multiple other people, and I would have gained a lot of traction from that instance. But it taught me a lot, and the message what I want to get across by telling that story today is, when you do get your agency off the ground, you need to be very careful with how you scale your pricing. Obviously, do scale your pricing, the better you get and the more expertise you have. However, just be aware of where you actually are, and in the grand scheme of things, and if you've got 3 clients, quadrupling your fee or taking on a client that's way out of your comfort zone and just charging what you think other people would charge, or what Tom and I would charge just to sign him, isn't the best decision. And you just need to be aware that another client's amazing at the same fee that you would be getting, you would get if you've got 3 clients, because if you lose 2 of them, you're going to be very thankful for that client at $1,500 rather than trying to charge ridiculous money like I did. So that's a lesson I learned, guys. Just be careful with how you're scaling your pricing. And then finally, guys, not staying consistent. And if you're a long-standing member of this channel, you're going to be sick of me talking about consistency. But in the early days of my agency, especially in that first year, even though I signed my first client after 6 months, which was painful in itself, but especially in that first 6 months, I just wasn't consistent. Like, I really struggled to stay consistent, and I sympathize with anyone who's struggling to stay consistent, because when you aren't getting results, the motivation there to stay consistent is very difficult. But as soon as I did start, when I signed my first client, staying consistent became a lot easier for me, because I could see the results then, and I was getting paid for it. But yeah, staying consistent was a struggle, but I massively regret not staying consistent earlier, because I would have got to where I needed to be and where I am today a lot quicker. Those are my 5 biggest mistakes in my 4.5-year SMMA journey, guys. If you want to learn more about the mistakes I've made, click the link in the description, check out the Digital Culture Academy. It's our mentorship program. If you don't know much about it, I've not talked about it in a while in one of these videos, but essentially what it is it's starts with a course. And don't be put off by a course, guys. I know that the course industry is a fucking shambles at the minute, but it does start off with a course. It is a course that gets updated all the time. The Meta Ads Mastery's just been updated. The Go High Level Mastery's just been updated with all new snapshots and automations that we use currently in our agency. But that's only 10% of what the Academy's all about, guys. It's more of a mentorship program than a course. The course just gives you the fundamental knowledge and that library of content that you can constantly refer back to, because it is a one-time fee. There's people that paid the very first Academy to enroll in the very first Academy over 2 years ago, and they've got free access to every new mentorship course and update that we've ever released, and they're going to continue that for the future. So you just have a library there that constantly gets updated with all new strategies as your manual of how to operate an agency in the correct way. But then the best part of it is having a support system there for when you have banned ad accounts, when you've got an ad campaign that's not performing, or a client's deciding between you and another agency, and you need Tom and my support to get that deal over the line for you. That's what the mentorship's there for, and that's how essential it is to so many businesses so many SMMAs that are in it. There's hundreds and hundreds of people in the Discord community, which is incredibly active. Some really successful SMMAs in there that pitch in more than us. And then obviously the live calls that you can hop on. There's one tonight of the day that's filming this at 6 p.m. London time. And yeah, it's hand on heart. I genuinely believe it's one of the best mentorship programs in the SMMA space because of this success. So if you're interested in that, if you've got any questions, message me on Instagram, Harry_SMMA. But if not, all the information is on the website. Click the link in the description. Check it out. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. for tomorrow's video.